Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the RSC podcast. This is our first episode, so let's start it off. I'm BraveNewWrld.
All right, I am a dead moose, his co-host.
And I'm Cobra Kai, the production manager.
Self-appointed production manager.
I figured since it's our first time, we should probably give a little bit more about ourselves. So, I'm BraveNewWrld, and I've played 4 seasons now in RSC, I believe. It kind of starts to blur together after a while, and I've won 1 championship with Electric Mayhem on the Surge team alongside a dead moose.
Yeah. So this is my Is this my 4th season? I think this is
You have 1 less than I, so if it's your 4th season, then this is my 5th season.
Let's see here. Started back in season 4. This is season 7, so I can't count. So yes, this is going to be my 4th season. I have been a general manager for 2 seasons. I have 2 RSC championships under my belt both with Electric Mayhem. 1 on the Elite, 1 on Surge in minor, and I'm hoping to get a 3rd one this season.
Yep. And I also forgot to mention that I was an AGM along with Moose for one of those 2 GM seasons.
Oh dear Lord, was that a time?
Yeah, it was. I still enjoy the times where we get to show our players the bar where they're chosen whether they're kept or released.
Yes, nothing like making important decisions by getting really intoxicated and then deciding to cut. Anyways, all right. Anyways, Cobra, let's get you in here so they don't realize that EM is in fact just a bunch of alcoholics. Where did we pick you up from?
Well, I'm an amateur player currently. I'm part of the Abyss. This is my 2nd official season playing, and the unfortunate part is I have 0 championships. So
That's
It's okay. Not many people do in RSC. It's actually quite prestigious when you start doing the numbers and realize how many players are actually in this league.
pretty much, yeah.
what is it? We got close. I think I looked at it. We got close to like 1,300 players in this in to start the season.
Is this our new highest player count season again? For like the 3rd time in a row?
I think the call to arms, we were worried about players initially, and then when they said that our Reddit post was going to get taken down, the admins asked all the GMs, start spamming and letting everybody who you can think of know that we've got this league going on, join it. That way we don't lose amateur tier. And I think the call to arms really saved us here. I think we got more players than we even had last time, so that'll be good.
That was a great recruitment drive for sure. So before we get further into the podcast, probably just talk about what our goal with this podcast was initially. Moose and I are actually kind of just sitting around talking about RSC in general. And we're like, hey, there's like a ton of good stories out there, especially through the tiers that you just don't hear about because you have to like be in the franchise to end up hearing about it or stuff. Just the small stuff, like the personal things.
Yeah, not to mention too, we got, there's a decent number of like in-house rivalries that like nobody would even know about unless you're actually
like me
there.
and Tony. Well,
yes, we've got
the same guy that's my GM right now.
Exactly. We can talk about how, for example, we used to play with Tony's brother Reinhardt. In fact, he continues to manage our RHL team, and the ever-loving joke was that he was going to trade for Reinhardt and then immediately cut him because he's his brother and he thought it'd be funny. So
and then he traded for Reinhardt and made him a 2IC, didn't he?
Yeah. So we basically threw the franchise tag on Reinhardt, made him one of the coaches, put him into IR at one point or another because I think his wife was starting to get upset that he was playing Rocket League and not tending to their baby. Or was that Germs? No, we had a couple people in that family.
Reinhardt got hit with that defranchise tag. I think Germs was the first one that got hit with it, though.
Yeah. But regardless, there's a lot of entertaining stories out there. Plus, not to mention, this will kind of help keep everybody in tune with the league a little bit more. Ideally, we're hoping to do a weekly update, get some interesting stats at you, players of the week, maybe a spotlight, franchise spotlight, so you know just how crazy some of you guys are, and just how much fun this league can be.
And trust me, some RSC players in here are indeed crazy. And that's insane and all that other
Yeah, Cobra noticed that after about 2 seconds of bouncing into our franchise line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll save these stories for future interviews when we have the actual people involved on. But first, we're going to start off with our first RSC interview with Juanma from his franchise, which is, I write it down
Mission
because,
Control.
thank you, Mission Control, because I do not know any franchise names ever except for the ones that don't exist anymore, like Apex Predators, Electric Mayhem, and The Dungeon. Because everyone
Electric
changes. Mayhem, yeah.
Oh boy.
Christmas ham, boys.
No, let's stay away from the Christmas ham.
All right, we're gonna drag Juanma in. Hopefully, he's saying something super embarrassing in the waiting room right now, and he'll just keep going as soon as he comes in. Oh wow!
Yeah, remember?
Is that a Wanma?
Yeah, that's a
We're
Juanma.
already 1 second.
So did we interrupt you mid-conversation there, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'd like to welcome to the show Juanma. He is the GM of
Mission Control.
Mission Control. Thank you. I need help with every GM franchise name ever.
It's a good thing I worked with half of them, and then now they all changed this season with half of the GMs changing.
Yes. Every time a franchise name changes, I either see it and complain about it, or I don't see it and have no clue who they are. Hopefully, this podcast will help fix that, though.
Alright, Wanma, so
there weren't that many GMs that moved. There were only like 7 or 8, I think.
yeah, compared
Yes.
to the initial 3 when I dipped out.
However, when Saber tries to change my first franchise's name, I vote in that poll because she didn't limit it to only players. Still lost, but I voted to keep the name.
Anyways, alright, Wanma, so you might be an interesting case here because you are probably our youngest GM.
Definitely our youngest GM.
You would not like to dispute that
Alright.
claim?
Not just current, like in history, in RC history.
And how old does that make you?
Too young. I'm 14. I'm turning 15 in March.
You wouldn't know it though. This guy's smart.
Yeah, Wanma happens to do all of the, what is it, all the numbers, all the MMR formulas, is that right?
No.
Okay. What do you do? I would
That's-
say,
No,
He's been
no,
trying to get
nodding
numbers
furiously.
for the summer work.
So basically, what I do GMing is Dravaco does all the work, and then in 10 minutes I complain about everything he's done, and I'm like, hey, here's something else we could do. And he's like, I spent 5 hours on this, why are you like this? And I'm like, yeah. No,
That's
but
how it
for
works in
real,
most,
for
though.
real. Dravaco is a much better sheets maker than I am. So he does a lot of the data analysis, a lot of the ideas.
Can I interrupt you quickly there? Dravaco's your 2IC, correct?
Dravaco is my one of my AGMs.
Okay, yeah, just make sure the viewers know.
Alright.
Yeah,
Dravaco is one of my AGMs. The other one is a new guy I'm really excited about, Thunderama. He's also staff committee, newly minted. Got that green name in the Discord.
Nice.
yeah, I remember running into Thunderama. I remember he was pretty cool. I think he helped me out with the backdraw tournament.
Yeah,
Or
plus
he
him
was
and
at
I-
least one of the players that was in it.
plus him and I talked in the RO Esports channel a few times before. He's pretty cool.
So I noticed that you had last season 3 teams go to playoffs: Artemis, Pioneers, and Explorers. We're wondering how was the journey to those teams' playoff runs for you, getting them through the regular season and into that position? Anything crazy? Where did it start?
It was really one conventional run, one kind of weird run, and one really weird run.
All right, let's start with the conventional run.
I'm gonna start with conventional one. Minor team was just a really solid team that we built from the off season, and I don't think I made a single change. No, I did, but there was a late season addition. They made quarterfinals, but they were just a solid team all around who had been there for the entire season. Major captain, captain was a guy who demoted from major, and he was pretty solid. He was a great leader. He's AGMing for Shadow Veil right now.
Okay.
Nice.
And my 2IC, who's at the time Shadow Veil, who is just awesome, dude. Helped a lot with the franchise. and 2 other solid guys, Far and Kev Dog. And that was the conventional team.
So they pretty much just did normal win like 2 or 3 games every week and just leisurely walked into a playoff spot.
They were the 3rd seed. They won their division.
Yeah.
It wasn't like GG easy every week, but they were just good the entire season,
Yeah.
and it was rewarded with a playoff spot.
You weren't
Now,
sitting there around like the last 2 weeks, like running numbers, like, okay, how does this happen? How do they get in? Yeah.
It's no, they were. I think they won their division with 2 match days left, so I didn't have to worry about them much.
All right, awesome.
The other question I have for you is, how many of them are still with you after the preseason? Well, again, granted, I guess
After the
preseason's
off-season
over,
movements.
But do you still have all those guys with you? Did any of them change tiers, change teams?
Well, the minor guys, one left to GM, who was Shadow Veil, my AGM. The other one went to AGM for him. The other 2 are still in my franchise, Far and Kev Dog, and they moved up to Major.
Okay, very cool.
Awesome.
All right.
I want to talk about the other dudes, though.
Oh, I am looking
Really
forward.
weird team.
I'm looking forward to hearing about weird and really weird.
Yeah. Weird wasn't really that weird. We were just, we were a really good team, and then we got, we traded for a dude, and then we were an even really gooder team.
Which
And
tier was weird? Was that contender?
That, the tier I'm talking about right now is contender. They made the finals and lost in 6, unfortunately.
Which
But
is
they
an
were-
excellent run.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is an
that's
excellent run. I admire all the stuff they did. They worked very hard they worked really hard to get to where they were, and I think they locked in 1st seed. They played on stream to get 1st seed, and they won 3-1 against the 2nd seed. So it's pretty cool.
Shout out to Build-A-Bear on that team, by the way, who's now in Challenge, I think.
Prospect.
Oh, Prospect. Gotcha.
And
Close enough.
that was kind of weird team. And really weird team was a team composed of, I think, let me think. So it was one guy I had with the franchise for the season prior, who's Mark, who is awesome dude, by the way. Like, they should just give him ownership of the league. And 2 draft eligibles and the sub who we had, who at the time at the start of the season was Vardanex. And they were, start of the season, the off season looked really promising. I think we went 8-4 or something. And in high spirits, we go in, they get on stream for the first match day, and they get swept. And then they get 1-3 the next week and swept again. And match day 4, they're 2-14.
And this is where you're kind of starting to think,
I
like, do
know
I need to
they're-
sell this team?
I know they're
Yeah, right.
I know they're much better than 2-14, but it's just not working out. So Shadow and I sat down with, well, all of the team captains, because we had a rough start to the season in general with all the tiers. But we sat down with the guys and we were like, what changes do you think need to be made? We were doing replay reviews on the regular, all that kind of stuff. And the end of the meeting, we decided we need a starting 3. We need to develop just a starting 3 so we can have that chemistry. Because if we keep doing what we're doing, our season's gonna be over like it began. So they turned it around and they finished the last 12 match days. They went 34 and 22. 30. Nope. I don't know. I don't know how to do math. They did it good.
No, I remember.
No, 34 and 10. 34 and 10.
Yeah, because what was it? I remember too. We were having this discussion back when I was at GM because your franchise, with the overall record, went something nuts. You were at the start of the season. You were probably towards the bottom end of things, and then by the time the season finishes, you were one of the top 10 GMs by far.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
And,
after match day 4 or 5, we were, I believe it was tied for 30th. And Shadow helped me a lot with getting all the teams back on track, getting all the captains to. We had a few teams that didn't really play together much, and Shadow helped me a bunch with getting them all to sort each other out, play replay reviews, not play, just do replay reviews and play with each other and build up that chemistry. And almost all of our teams went very positive after that. Our challenger team was struggling for the first few match days, and we were one tiebreaker away from making playoffs. Our major team started 5-15, I believe, and they went even. They had a stretch of the season where they went like 17-3 or something stupid.
Yep.
So that was pretty great, and it was a lot of people putting in a lot of hard work.
So it sounds like last season's story for you was very much self-improvement, with some incredible results, especially late in the season too.
Yeah, not too many transactions made.
Yeah.
A lot of transactions made.
A lot of them. Okay.
I'm talking self-improvement from
Lot of-
franchise perspective there, I think. But now I think we want to look towards next season. So we noticed you did some pretty crafty. As I was looking at it, I said, "This looks like Dravacado's work." Dravaco, with all those draft pick movements. Lo and behold, he's your 2IC. So
I saw a bit
I
of
think
it and it's like, wait, this guy has a plan.
so. I believe you had 11 challenger picks at one point. How is that strategy for you going into the draft?
I do a lot of my decisions on what kind of game plan. So, in every offseason, I kind of visualize a draft board I want to end up at. So if I'm making a trade, I'm like, okay, is this getting me closer to that ideal draft board, or is it getting me farther away? And obviously, like that idealized draft board isn't going to be like, oh, I have first, second, third, fourth, and fifth overall. So it's something realistic, but it's still something you want to strive for. And
Yeah, because I know there are a couple...
and you use those trades to
move towards it.
to move towards it. And I like myself a lot of choices. I don't like being like, I drafted 5 guys and one of them was inactive, so I guess we're just stuck with the 4 we have. I like to get 6 together and be like, okay, 4 of you are going to make the team, battle it out, because that brings out the best in players and people.
Now,
And like, if I accidentally draft someone that's super toxic or something, I can weed them out and like, okay, there were 6 on this team, there are 5 now.
You don't have to worry about having to find a backfill for them.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
now the other question I got for you too is, oh shoot, I had it for a second.
And then you lost it.
I did lose it. No, how do I want to phrase this? Basically, because the other option too, and I know a decent number of GMs do it, and I think that's what I wound up doing a lot last season, was we wound up, not only do you have to do an intense amount of scouting, but I also know for a lot of my tiers, I actually limited it to basically I'd almost pick 4 players, either through keepers in the draft or either through a keeper or a free agent signing, and then I'd maybe sign 1 guy to a team, and then just kind of run with 4, and then go from there. How much scouting do you have to do for, when you're running looking for that many picks?
Well, it depends, because the ideal draft board depends on, like, for example, if you don't have that deep scouting in a specific tier, it doesn't make any sense to like trade up to pick number 1 or number 2 because you're not sure who you'd pick with that number 1 or number 2 pick.
Mhm.
But so, it makes more sense to just generally have a good first round pick or even have a keeper. But if you do have a specific guy in mind, I think it's really useful to try to trade up to a really high pick and just hope you get him. Or maybe trade up to number 1 and be sure you get him.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But now, Cobra, did Tony draft you this particular season then, or?
Yeah, he did. So I
Okay.
went
49th overall
fifth
pick.
The fifth round first pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you go to a lot of combines then, Cobra?
I pretty much went to basically all of them. I thought about skipping the last one, but that's like, well, it was my mom's birthday that day, so it's like, well, the stuff ended earlier than I anticipated. It's like, fuck it, I'll do the last one.
That's a
And then,
belief.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you now. How nervous did you get during combines?
Pretty nervous at the beginning, but then once I started getting in the groove a bit more, then the nerves slowly started to go away, pretty much. That's like,
Now, did you have like an ideal draft spot that you were hoping to go? Were you hoping or expecting to go round 1, or? were you-
I was kind of hoping to go round 1, but then they decided to pick people better, so it's like, well, damn. Because my first round opportunities this season.
Because I know for myself, I think I've been drafted once, and after that, it's been all keepers. So I've kind of forgotten what combines and the draft even really felt like.
Well, I never even went to combine, so my first draft, I forgot that I signed up for RSC, and Gibbledew drafted me. And my reminder of, oh, you signed up for RSC was him messaging me like, hey, join my franchise Discord. I'm like, oh, yeah, I signed up for that a while ago. I completely forgot about it.
It's like, oh, this is a thing I signed up for a while back.
And then I've been a
Right.
keeper since then. But yeah.
But yeah, this is my first season back since I dropped out and played last season. So I'm sorry, Juanma. I'm sorry.
You're forgiven.
Fair enough.
All right. Do we have anything else for Juanma here? or
No, I
do we
think
start?
that was an excellent interview, Juanma. Good luck for the rest of your season, and thank you for coming out, buddy. You did great.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna throw you back to the waiting room, my friend.
Alright.
Make sure you have
It's
something
fine.
awkward to say to Viper ready.
Yeah,
Yep.
you don't have to wait. You can also go home.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but we don't have a gift basket prepared for you.
Stand still. I'll give you a gift basket.
Uh-oh.
Sit still. Stay. Get back
That's
here.
right.
Get back here. Come on.
Give
Oh.
baskets the demo.
I guess.
All right.
I guess
we'll worry
Jim got
about
that gift
later.
basket. All right. Thanks for coming out, Juanma.
It was really fun. Maybe we can
appreciate
do
that.
it's a season thing, like every season in my corner.
Yeah, we might check back in at the end of the season and see how that 11 pick challenger turns out. Yeah.
It looks great now. We'll
Yeah,
see if you still feel that way later on. All right. Have a good one.
Alright.
All right, so that was just Juanma, everyone. I'm
Yeah,
really glad to have him
Juanma.
out as our first interview. We knew he's a great GM and definitely has some stories to tell.
Definitely yes.
Yeah,
But
so-
that is agreed.
Yep. So normally in our episodes, we'd plan to have some segments here around league news, talk about probably which teams are hot, which teams are not right now. But since it's preseason, we didn't really want to get into that too much since everyone's still figuring out their teams and everything. And I really don't like speculating based off preseason results because everyone's trying stuff out. And
Yeah.
it's just not fair to the teams, really.
It's like the NFL preseason. It means nothing.
Oh,
Well,
well,
except for
it
the
means
guys that
it
go
means
last year.
everything when the Lions are playing because they're winning all their games against the third string and fourth string, and we're like, yeah, it's our year. And then first real game comes, it's not our year.
Oh, it's never our year.
But preseason's our season.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
yep. 4-0, 0-16. Thank you,
Pretty much.
2008.
All right. But our next guest is a player who is near and dear to Moose and mine hearts. He is a part of a very special championship we got on Surge, and someone who we've probably honestly done some pretty crazy things with. I'd like to bring Viper Strike on. I really hope he's saying something stupid right now.
All
He ended up in the wrong channel.
Oh,
Did you move channels right as I moved you?
I didn't. No.
I've dragged you, and then you end up in podcast. I'm like, what?
Oh, I put him in the wrong channel. That's my bad.
All right, so viewers, I'd like to welcome Viper Strike to the lobby, and Juanma needs to get out of my lobby.
Yeah, swamp.
Feel free to join the.
Yeah, I'll
Game
hop in
lobby.
orange real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel free to punt Juanma around too. But yeah, Viper Strike. He was a player on EM for a while with Moose and I, and then eventually moved over to Sovereign Guard. First off, would you like to introduce yourself more than I already have? Viper?
Sure, yeah. As you can see on the game tag, Viper Strike 15. Joined RSC, I think it was on season 4.
That sounds about right, because
You're the same as
You got-
Moose,
Yeah.
you got drafted at the same time I did.
and we did
Yeah.
these mental gymnastics previously to figure out what seasons we all started playing.
Yeah, yeah, because you
Yeah,
went directly to EM.
Yeah, I got drafted.
You went directly to DM. Do not pass
by you
go.
guys. Do
Make a
not
case for
collect $200.
Brave not to use you as a hostage exchange to get Jimmy on his team.
And when I joined, I was still on PS4.
Yes.
And then
Well-
I ended up getting this computer about halfway through that season, which was fun. You know, switching your
your s-
setup completely in the middle of a season.
Now, did your stats
Probably wasn't the
improve
best
or deprove? Decrease? How do you
I
say?
think they went down and then went back up, so it kind of evened out. I think I got used to my setup around playoffs, which
Yeah.
top
Ironically enough, we somehow managed to win that playoff.
Yep.
And on top of that, when I calculated the stats, you had something nuts like 23 goals in that playoff run.
We can save Playoff Viper for later. I wanted to start off a little
Yeah.
bit more towards the beginning. So,
Yeah,
you first joined EM. A lot of stuff was going on there. Crane had pulled me in onto his team as an off-season trade to build a team around me. I had immediately identified Moose as someone I wanted on my team because I'd played a ton of Rocket League and tournaments outside of RSC with him. So
Yeah.
Crane and I already had this plot to get him. That plot got kind of messed up when Luke drafted a dead Moose with a question mark after trying to draft someone who's already drafted, and I could literally just see him looking at the draft board to find who the highest MMR was to make that draft pick. So you came into the team with a team that was looking to make a really early season transaction with Luke to get Moose on the team, and already pretty well formed too, and we needed to find that third man.
Yeah.
So how was your feelings joining the team first weeks, like after you had just made the cut and were just getting adjusted to being around us?
Yeah. After the cut, I was surprisingly nervous for the first couple of games. I didn't think I would be. I just remember the first time it wasn't preseason, even after all the cuts and everything. I was just like, man, I'm actually like my hands are sweating. I'm shaking a little bit to the point where I was surprised by it. It didn't take very long. I think by the end of that series, I was feeling better.
Yeah.
But
I think I recall that was probably the first edition of Viper. Just go for the ball. Stop playing defense. Just go for it. If I
Yeah,
play it in the
'cause
middle, I mean to play into the middle to you. You are the
Yeah.
third man. I'm trying to pass to you. Just go for it.
yeah, because I just broken into Champ 1, I think, when that season started. And yeah, I always played defense even with my friends. Like the first 3 months of this game, I don't think I left the goal box unless the kickoff made me. Like
Yeah.
I played legit goalie positionally because we were all really dumb back then. So I kind of naturally put myself more in a defensive position just because that's where I'm the most comfortable. So if I don't know what to do, I just go there. The
Yeah.
problem is that's kind of what you do, Moose.
Yeah.
And so we ended up both kind of being in each other's way a lot. And I wasn't
Right.
sure when I should move forward, when I should stay back. And so I ended up just being really passive.
Right, because I
for the
remember
first bit of the
those
season.
first few weeks. I could tell you were getting frustrated, particularly trying to work into this. We kind of already.
We have an
Yeah,
existing
right.
system, which I'm not allowed to talk to because every time I play in a game with someone they asked about, I start talking. Moose is like, "Shut up." He's like, "Shut
Yeah,
up."
but you.
It's our
and
tactical
especially
system. No
since-
sharing.
you two have been playing Rocket League together for
We've been playing together
Since
since the game came
right?
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like joining that ranked game and your two teammates are partied up. You're just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It's
gonna
like-
go either really well or really poorly. and
I'm either gonna
nobody's
mesh
be happy.
perfectly or we're gonna have no chemistry. And off the bat, I was overthinking everything, so we had no chemistry because I was just hesitating too much.
Yeah, but then I recall we kind of had that day where we were just like, we need to get our communication better. So I recall it started off with you know what, ball.
Yeah, that was after the film session day. We sat down and we all kind of watched a few things on film, and then we realized like our communication's our biggest issue. So we started trying to figure
Minimizing
out the best way to talk and who's going where.
Right. I would say.
We
I would
boiled it
say.
down
Oh,
to-
Moose was great in those. The
I would start every sentence with I'm going to, and then you had no idea what else I was gonna say.
I'm going to go up for the ball.
No, it was either
I am going to miss.
It was either I got it, I got behind you, I got middle. Like,
And we're just like,
I don't know what you're saying.
Something along those lines, pretty much.
and we're just like, take out the first two words and say the last one.
Yep.
Right. I need to know ball, net,
Yep.
pass.
And it literally started turning into ball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then at some point we just started grunting. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, it boiled down to ball because the most important part was
Yeah.
who's actually committing right now. And
Yeah.
so we just started saying ball.
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 And that, like if I was gonna, like if I went up for something, I'm like, it's like, ah! Like some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like the mind
the panic
game,
noise.
except for-
Like if I make that noise, one of them knows it's time to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
The
other,
Like,
panic noise meant you need to be in ball cam and heading towards me or the ball or something. We're in
I'm not.
trouble.
I'm not dealing with this. Deal with it, please.
right. Whereas I sounded like I'm an old man getting out of his chair for the latest time. Anytime you hear that noise out of me, that's usually I'm stretched for the ball with about 0 boost and trying to make some sort of save.
Right.
And also, terrified that I'm not going to. But I also know too with that team, in addition to communication, we were working on rotations.
Yeah.
And like you said, I was typically, especially that season, I defaulted more to that defensive position. And there were a decent number of times where, Viper, you had a key phrase, which basically meant for me, okay, he's going for something. It's probably not advisable, and I should go back to net immediately.
Hey.
Yeah, pretty much what would happen is Brave would go for some sort of crazy touch, some sort of crazy pass to get it by their defender. And I would look at the situation and I'm like, all right, I can go for this. It's risky. There's a chance I could hit it, but if I mess up, we're probably getting scored on. So I was fighting the logistical side of myself, which was, I should stay back, play it safe, make sure everything's good. But then there was the competitive side of me that was saying, just go for the ball.
I want to get a goal.
And so all of that would boil down to, I would just make the decision to take the risky move. And I didn't really know how to say that. And again, we were going over like communication and making sure that our comms are quick and we know what everything means.
Oh, this came out in a match. I recall the first time this
and
came
so
out
this
very
was a
well.
legitimate match, and I had made this decision of I'm just gonna go for the risky play, and it's gonna put Moose in a real bad spot if I mess this up. So I turn around, grab the full boost, I see the ball in the air, and I just go, F it. Just immediately turn around, full boost, full trying to act like Squishy in a montage.
And he says this, and I'm like, I think he's going for the ball, and I can just see Jim just like clenching and turning around and going the other way instantly.
And
It's
that
like,
was the
I'm moving
moment
away from this, I'm moving out your way.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that was the moment I realized that like I can almost be the linchpin of the rotation. I can actually not take over like as an MVP, but more set the tone for the rotations between the two of you.
Yep.
And that moment almost like defined the rest of our season. Is when I was just like, you know what, we're going for it.
Basically, you were like the starting player of the rotation, and everything else worked from there.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing
Basically.
is that line then became iconic because that
Yeah.
wasn't the only time I used it.
Yeah, no,
It became
They knew what it meant.
which tactically speaking, it was pretty much calling a rhythm change because third man was cutting to change the rhythm of the attack so that we'd have that guy hitting the ball probably about 3 seconds quicker than they normally would have committed.
Yeah. That moment where I saw I could beat him and I had to get, the ball was usually above the crossbar. And if I bang it off the backboard, we're in a lot of trouble. But if I sink it, then we're fine. Everything's good.
yeah. There were also
But Viper, take 10 more shots a game. I could go 0 for 7 on my own, but what if you make them?
Yeah, what if they actually go in?
Eye-opening intensifies.
yeah. So we got that locked down, and then what's it? You scored about 23 goals in playoffs.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was pretty late in the season that we finally kind of figured that out. And then playoffs happened.
And then
And I don't know what happened. Like the rotation just perfectly clicked, but it was always one of you two passing it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we didn't even mean to do it. It's just how it went.
Yeah.
It's like it just ended up becoming the Viper show with me and Moose playing setup.
Yeah, I think you, John, would always have like 75% assists on my goals.
Yeah.
And then Moose was just, whenever things didn't pan out, you'd always have 3 or 4 saves. And so it just perfectly worked on the, we almost had the like amateur C9 setup where like I would play more of the squishy role of kind of doing anything. Moose was Torment being the full-time goalie.
Speaking of which,
and then John was playing gimmick, which is just I'm up doing dumb things because they can't handle it.
Yep.
but so on top of that, we got to know you a little bit outside of RSC as well when we managed to convince you to fly to Detroit, take a road trip with us for 10 hours in the car from Detroit to New Jersey for RLCS.
To meet up with other EM franchise member, to Moose,
Slash
and
other
Dad,
RSC members as well. Yeah.
plus our other RSC members, plus Crane, the GM of EM when we made our title run that we affectionately called Dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every GM was pretty much a dad, except for Moose, because he wasn't the original dad. He was just uncle.
Well, he was dad to everyone else. To us, it was just like, okay. Okay, you got a new title in front of your name.
I remember I legitimately had the discussion of going on that or not with my wife for like 2 months. Trying to be like, no, I have internet friends that I'm going to fly to Detroit and then drive across the country with to go to some event where I don't know anybody in a city I've never been to. It's fine. What could go wrong? Everything should be fine.
Yeah,
It's like this will be interesting, and this will be an interesting adventure.
Right.
Because
I'm 27, and my parents even questioned my decision that one after. Granted, they helicopter a little bit, but
my parents don't question.
See, you know something's up when you're old enough, and even then your parents just don't question life's decisions.
Yeah, right.
Well, if it's grandma,
I'm
they always
29,
question.
I'm not that much older, but yeah, it was kind of the same idea.
Wow.
It was hilarious. But I ended up going. Flew out to you guys in Detroit. We hung out for one night.
Yeah, how was it getting picked up by us at the airport where you had like no idea what we looked like?
It was interesting. I was definitely Moose was close to what I thought. John, you completely surprised me.
What were you expecting?
Just based on like the voice and your voice and I know with soccer and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. You struck me as just a little bit. It's hard to explain. Like I kind of just have an image of everyone in my head.
Yes. I want to hear the end of this thought.
And
Continue.
I'm trying to think of someone that I expected you to look like.
Okay.
It's hard for me to think of one, but
What
it's
differences?
difficult for me to think.
You know what I look like, what differences?
You definitely. I didn't think. You definitely look more like your job is more that engineer
Yeah.
type where you have the glasses and you're definitely having played soccer with you while we were at RLCS. You definitely are more athletic than you look right off the cuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I remember that soccer game. In the,
Yeah.
that was probably one of the greatest stories out of RLCS. Not only did we
Yeah.
get to meet up with about like 20 other guys from RSC, but on top of that too, we started playing soccer at a local park for kicks and giggles, and then we started playing kickball because soccer started to get tiring and not everybody felt like moving around anymore.
We needed something where we could be a lot more lazy all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right, so we start playing kickball, and these two cops wind up showing up at the park at the field.
And we're just like, hello, officer, everything all right? It's like, oh, it's fine.
I was one of the first people that interacted with them because I was sitting out for a little bit, and so they walked up, and it was me and one other person, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, what's going on? And it was funny because at that point, one team had been, hadn't gotten any outs for a while. Oh, what a save.
Yeah, the other team.
And so,
our team was
the
winning.
other team's just laying down the points. And so the officers just look at me and go, yeah, we came out here because we heard someone was getting murdered out here. We just didn't realize it was a whole team. Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big oof.
But anywho's, that boiled down to the officers had been on patrol and they just wanted to take some time out of their car and saw us playing kickball and thought they could watch.
Yeah, they were just chilling and then saw some guys playing some kickball in the park and
I think
spent like 5 seconds evaluating that we weren't doing anything stupid, and then we're just hanging out.
Yeah, I think that might. Well, what?
The other great line was, I'm pretty sure it was Slurp.
No, not
Was
Slurp.
on-
It was a Slushy. It was Slushy. Slushy was on
Slushy?
shortstop vaping.
Yeah, he was on second base with his vape out.
While the
And the
cops
cops start dying laughing. They're like, this is beer league when someone's standing on second with their vape pen out. It was fantastic.
yeah, there was no even question of legality of what's in that or anything.
Oh, yeah, no, they just thought it was hilarious.
Because we were worried. I think on the way over to that, one of the guys.
Nope. We're shutting that down. You're not talking
Fair
that
enough.
one.
Never mind. In any case,
What happens in New Jersey stays in New Jersey.
Now, what happens
Stays
in
in Jersey.
Manhattan- What happens in Manhattan might be.
Oh. Well, I think that we need to finish that kickball game off with when Fiend came very close to killing a small child accidentally with the cops there.
Oh, for real?
Like, someone was walking their kid on the sidewalk. I
Okay,
swear, almost
you use
200
better words
yards
than
away.
walking their kid on the sidewalk. My mental image right now is a leash.
small
Stroller,
child-
leash, same difference.
So small child, mom had a baby in the stroller and had like maybe a 2 or 3 year old with them. So real
Yeah, and the
small
3-year-old
child.
was walking along, and of course, 3-year-olds, they want to, stop and pick up anything on the ground.
And
So
just
probably
quick,
found like
quick
a little flower or
yeah.
rock or something. So he goes running off the sidewalk into the field, and
To-
this is probably at least 100 yards away.
This is okay. So like, imagine like your baseball diamond. This is like, imagine like
Oh,
that
gotcha.
warning track. Put like a few extra yards past that warning track.
And we see
That's how
them
far away.
walking right as someone pitches, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And Fiend
Fiend
with
rips
perfect
it.
precision, just like it hits, and then we see the slight breeze pulling it along with the curve. We're all like, oh no.
Yeah.
So we all start screaming, and she sees it, manages to get the kid. It lands maybe like a foot away.
I swore I was watching like a World War II movie and like mortar shells were falling near that kid.
Yeah, if she hadn't grabbed that kid was
Getting
hurt.
beamed with a kickball.
Yeah, ball comes down
60
right where the
miles
kid
an
was.
Instant, like injury level, nearly.
Right. Yeah. No, we
Yeah,
were like
I love it.
legitimately worried for the safety of.
And like on top of like all the word for the kid's safety, the cops are still here watching the game.
I think the cops were walking back to their patrol car and like turned around real quick to check,
Yeah.
and
make
then
sure that-
saw that everything was fine and then left. But yeah, that was
Yeah. That was a scary
great
moment.
time.
But then I know Viper wanted to get into this a little bit earlier than I had planned here,
Yeah.
but why do we love New York so much?
Right. So that was what Thursday. Was that
We
Friday?
arrived. Was it Matches started on Friday. We arrived Thursday night, and we're rolling in, and we text to Moose, and it's like he was already in New York for a wedding, so he had an Airbnb and was already over that area. So we text him. It's like, hey, where are you up to tonight? And he's like,
Yeah,
"One
so
seat."
that was Thursday night, and Friday morning, or Friday, like, at noon, was the actual when the matches started.
Yep.
So we're like, we can have a late night. It's fine. We can kind of goof off.
I recall Tamus literally texted us back when we asked him what he was doing. It's like, so, New York's great. The bars close at 3 a.m. and the first 4 a.m.
And he was like, yeah, the bars close at like 4. We were like, okay, whatever.
And the first train back to Jersey is at 4:30.
Yep. So we're sitting there at the train station at like 10:30, trying to decide if we should call it an early night or go out. And we're like, it's Thursday night. Why not? Let's go out.
Yeah, and after the train got delayed about 8
And then the
different
train,
times.
the construction, the train got delayed. It was a mess.
So then we did some mental gymnastics and found that
And so
we were on the last train.
We could be on the last train into Manhattan, and the trains didn't open back up till 4:30 in the morning. And then we all look at each other, and go, "Well, the bars are open till 4." And all of us collectively, and then we had the collective it moment.
Yes.
Where we just decided to go for it.
The epitome of Surge.
Yes.
And at that,
So we go bar hopping. We hit how many different places? Like probably 6 or 7 different places.
We started at a beer garden right by Penn Station.
Yeah,
and
because
then
they gave
right
us
there at Madison Square Garden, essentially.
Yeah, they gave us a free pitcher because we killed 2 pitchers.
That was our 3rd pitcher in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Between the 4 of us.
Yeah, I was gonna hand the guy my card. He's just like, this one's on the house. I'm like, are you sure he's safe out there?
Yeah.
Right.
To be fair, a pitcher in New York costs about $32, which if you divide it up, basically a beer, 4 beers, so 1 per person, $8. So it was
expensive, but it wasn't insane.
Yeah.
We're talking almost stadium prices, but not quite.
And then we went to that one bar that had a drunk off their ass karaoke going on.
Oh yeah, we didn't stay there very long.
We got it. Pretty much our rule of thumb was get a drink at a bar and move on.
Yeah, we would all grab one drink, hang out, and then go to the next one.
And then the one after that was
the last one of the night was.
We had the one before that, which was just like a dive bar. Then last bar of the night.
Last bar of the night, we end up running. The bartender ends up being from Colorado, which is where I'm from.
We need to start off. I know part of the story, so we need to start off. First, so we're going to the bar, get bouncers carding us, and it's also the bar is bouncing, and he notices that Tamus is Air Force, so he immediately says, "Oh, you're active service. Here, let me get you a drink." The owner was Marines, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
So starts off. The owner notices that one of our buddies is Air Force, and is like, "Oh, cool. Let me get you a drink. Thank you for your service. This is important later."
Yeah.
Continue though.
But yeah, so we end up getting there. The bartender, she's from Colorado, which is where I'm at and where I'm from. So we kind of just making basic small talk. She's like, "No way, you're from Colorado," because we're in the middle of Manhattan at 3 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of just small talking real quick, and of course we're all 7, 8 drinks in at this point.
Didn't you go to like darn near the same high schoolers there too?
Yeah, I found out that same school district, probably 4 miles apart.
Yeah.
And she graduated about 2 or 3 years before I did, so we ended up knowing a couple people like that from sports and stuff. Whoa, what just happened to me?
You experience this every Sunday in RHL.
No, literally, I just went straight to the spectate screen. I didn't actually have the explosion and the look around. I went to where the camera was like up here and you're looking at the side of the field.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
I thought I glitched out. That was weird.
Okay, so back to the story. Bartender who has a Colorado wristband.
Yeah, Colorado wristband and all that. And so this dude who's definitely a gym rat.
He looks like he's from Jersey Shore.
Like the TV show.
Late 20s, pretty jacked guy, but he is completely hammered. He's holding on to everything just to stay standing. Apparently liked her and didn't appreciate, us bonding, if you want to call it that.
Now, to be fair, you're also married too, so there was.
Yeah, I have a wedding ring on. We're just, really basic chatting. And so he's kind of getting offended by it and coming up and he's like, "You're not really from Colorado." And I was wearing a shirt from Colorado. I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so
What do you mean?
I'm like, "What do you mean, bro?" Exactly. And then
And like the bartender's like, no, he's legitimately from Colorado. We grew up in the
so
same area.
So she's like, "No, like he knows the area. He has all the names right. He's definitely from there." And so then I kind of pull out my ID to show him, like, yeah, Colorado license. And he's all like examining it, seeing if it's fake. Again,
Your exact words were Colorado license are like typed in green. You can look at it. It's green. See, it's green.
right.
Yeah.
Can't read that, can you?
Right. Which is so annoying because everyone knows what what Colorado's known for right now.
Yeah.
Except I can't.
Right.
Oh,
The fact
wait.
that,
Never mind.
yeah, the fact that we were the most popular to legalize marijuana first.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's what everyone thinks about when they think of Colorado. And I'm like, and then they changed the license plates to not the plates, your
The type.
driver's license ID. It's all green now. I was like, are you serious? Come on. I hear that
The most
enough.
ugliest green color that around any other state, mind you, too.
I know.
For real, that's ugly as
Right.
ugly
But I
as
was telling him like, yeah, they just changed them to green. Like, it's an official one. So he's he's getting all mad about it. And of course I'm a couple drinks in, so I'm definitely feeling courageous. But obviously I didn't want to fight him because it's.
I'm
3:30 in the morning
I'm
in
sitting
New York.
there saying, Viper, don't start a fight. Viper, don't start a fight.
Right, and I'm like, I'm not gonna start a fight, but I'm definitely not just being passive about it either. But I'm not squaring him up or anything. I'm just kind of being sarcastic. By the end of it, because drunk people are hilarious, he ended up being like, "Bro, I love you," and gave me a hug and everything. It was funny. But
Well, I recall after the first like escalation, I think he was like the bar owner's like cousin or something, because he pretty much like wanted to get that de-escalated quick, so he got him away, and pretty much he was just talking to Tamoose for the rest of the night. And,
yeah, because that guy ended up being super, into the fact that that Thomas was military, so he's talking to him, and then he liked our whole crew, and
yeah.
he like kind of went to grab me, and I just was like, yeah, I don't care, and I just like gave him a hand, like I gave him basically a bro hug.
Yep.
And then he was like, "Oh, you're
That is
super
good.
cool," and then we left. It was all good.
Yeah.
But
But
that
so
was one of the most memorable things.
yeah. And the
Went
day after, we're all just sitting around like talking about the guy. It's like Jersey Shore, yeah. 'Cause we didn't know his name.
I'm still recovering. Basically
We're all still
under
recovering.
it. So I can't talk properly. So I ended up calling him Jersey Thor because my S's were bad,
And that just stuck.
Yeah.
So now we call him Jersey
and
Thor.
now that's stuck. So every time, yeah.
If
So
there
if
was
anyone
Thor,
needs a
that's
name
what
change for RSC,
Jersey Thor is available.
the other, and then on top of that, well, what's it? We overslept the first, or no, we didn't oversleep the
Oh.
first round of games. We had to drive to the airport to go pick up
Yeah.
Crane.
So we got back from our train rolls in back to the hotel at like probably 5
We get to the
a.m.
hotel at like 5:15. Yeah.
And I just get a text from Crane. I'm at the airport, guys. Come pick me up. And we're like, I thought we told you were taking the train last night. He said, I can't be asked to figure it out. Come get me. It's like, we literally just got back from the bars like 10 minutes ago. Are you going to leave your dad at the airport? Fine. And I'm like, Jim,
Right.
get up. We're going to get dad. He's like,
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, we do the same thing the next night. Wind up in Times Square, and
Yeah.
we found out that when Canadians get
Crane is Canadian, for preface.
so yeah, Crane gets very beleaguered, belligerent, intoxicated, however you want to put it.
The hockey Canadian comes out.
Yeah, he's running around
Pretty
Times.
much.
He's running around Times Square at 3:30 in the morning, screaming.
I want
Oh
poutine.
my god.
He's
I
like,
want
"How
poutine.
He's like, how difficult is it? He's like, it's fries, cheese curds, and gravy. What more can you ask for? I'm like, Crane, it is New York at 3:30 in the morning. You are greatly overestimating the ability for an American to do something for you, particularly at this time of night.
He's like,
Either
oh,
serving drinks or drinking them.
and then he's like, I'll literally tell them how to make it. It's not that hard. It's like,
like-
you got fries? You got gravy? I'm like, no. Back that up a little bit there. You don't got gravy. Yes, you got fries. Next.
Right.
It's also 3 a.m., so no,
You don't-
we don't have fries. The kitchen's closed.
The kitchen has fries somewhere, and I don't think the
much.
kitchen has gravy, though. You got cheese, right? Not the type of cheese you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, they have
Anyway.
cheese.
Anyways, since we're getting pretty close to our time limit here, long story short, yeah, he runs around screaming about poutine, but he's also terrified of the area because being from Canada, he's not exactly used to, well, the level of just overall murder that takes place in America, and we started telling him stories about Detroit, and
That started with he like, this is a real bad neighborhood in Canada. There's like 20 murders in a year, and just like, you need to go to
And you
Detroit,
guys are
buddy.
from Detroit, which is yeah.
And
tough.
they have
On
like a
top of
murder a
that,
day
too,
there.
We also got at some point during the night, we got approached by a gentleman who initially offered to sell us some marijuana. We said no thanks, we're good. He then followed it up with, well, I've got some cocaine if you want that instead. And well,
Ooh, no.
we
Oh, I turned down marijuana, but cocaine, yes sir. No, we weren't doing that.
yeah, because since we said no marijuana, clearly we're in for a much rougher night. We clearly want cocaine. We said no thanks, man. We're good. Plus, like, how do you even pay for cocaine? It's not like I'm running around New York with cash on me. I'm not gonna give him my credit card.
He's
either.
probably got a square.
Well,
either.
Yeah, well, we're literally walking away from him, and Jim's like, I all said yeah, sure, but I don't have any cash with me, but I was scared he'd pull out his Foursquare for me to pay.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
Please note, I don't actually do cocaine.
Yes,
I was
it is a
just
joke.
very curious to see how he was gonna manage that transaction.
Yeah.
But
that was yeah, because we were right after RLCS. Then that was my last season with you guys.
Yep.
Then you joined Sovereign Guard.
Yep.
So I think we
Someone
want.
went and cut me because they don't like me anymore.
Yes. It's 'cause we don't like
something. Keep around something.
Something.
So-
You
something-
had 9 current
So,
players
something.
in
Something. The
major.
entire elite team got demoted to major, but we're still elite quality players because they all ruined their ranks and didn't give a crap about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had like 8
But
players.
yeah, so I ended up going free agent. And then as RSC switched my designation, I was in a combine. And what did Fiend say in the draft? The hairiest chested man in all of RSC.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Turb was in there. And it was pretty quick. I was actually really like worried about it because it ended up happening the last week of combines, and then I had to work. Like, I got the news Monday. I couldn't be in combines on Friday because I had to work late. So Wednesday was like the only day I had. It's like, oh man, you want to make a combine stressful.
Yeah,
You know,
right?
when you have like a month, you can kind of like have good days and bad days. Like, man, I have to play really well tonight, or this might get rough. But luckily, I played decently, and Turb was in the lobby. They ended up signing me, I think, the next day. And I had like 1 or 2 other people that were kind of interested, but I ended up, I just went with it. I was like, you know what? I know,
You know who Turb was. At
I
that
know
time.
Turb at this point. He's a good guy. They're a pretty solid team. I'll just go with it.
And you guys had a pretty good run last season. You made it to second round of playoffs.
Yeah, we made second round of playoffs, which has been the curse for that team for a little while. Is they're really good, and then for some reason the playoffs either like someone DCs or something goes wrong.
Someone has a terrible night and
And they
scores
end up
some own
just getting
goals.
they end up getting first rounded like all the time, and so I was happy I could
Break the curse.
break the curse, get that first playoff win.
Bring some EM magic to Sovereign Guard.
I didn't go full
Pretty
playoff
much.
hyper, which I was sad, but yeah, ended up getting that first win. So now we're just trying to, build from there.
Yep. You still have a Turb, and you're still in the same tier right now over there in Major, right?
Yep, we're both of us are still on the team, and then we have 3 other guys. So we're gonna have to make 1 cut for the season.
But things are looking good for
But-
you to continue with that success and carry it to next season, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely, especially because me and Turb have pretty good chemistry built up now, and
at some point, you'll probably wind up running into me and Brave out there.
Oh, yeah.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm back in major and I miss you guys. So
And you're my
That'll be
teammate, so I'm
fun.
stuck with you.
yeah. But anyways, we should probably get this wrapped up. I've got
Yep.
one quick little anecdote because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
At RLCS, I think it was after one of the last match days, we go out to dinner. Found this pizza place.
Oh,
And,
I was also gonna save the story for when we do an interview with Fiend,
yeah, well,
because I think I know which one you're going for.
well, no, I'm
I
gonna
want-
mention what
okay.
Tuna did.
Oh, never mind. Oh, okay, yes, that one.
So we're at dinner, and you know, we'd all started to get to know each other, but granted, nobody necessarily had all the names and gamer tags down quite just yet.
Yeah.
So we're at dinner.
This was like Friday night or something. It was
Yeah.
pretty early on.
It was
all of us had,
before
like-
night 2, yeah.
Yeah, so we hadn't had like an official meetup yet. We were all still trying to coordinate something, but we were all hungry. So everyone just kind of went to eat.
And then
So we ended up, Fiend walked by, recognized one of you guys. And so we got him to come in. And I think Tuna was
Tuna was his
rooming
roommate.
with him. Yeah.
And
So,
at
that's how that
dinner,
ended up
we
happening.
started talking about just random RSC things, and we mentioned Viper Strike, and then Tuna all of a sudden goes, "Viper Strike, I freaking hate that guy," and he's
No, and
literally
because
sitting
he-
2 chairs away,
Like, sitting within arm's distance.
and
Because
I
he
was just
didn't
about to,
know who everyone was at the table. Had no idea I was sitting there. And so I just kind of look at him real quick, and I look at Fiend, and Fiend is like bending over laughing, watching this unfold.
I'm
and I was
laughing
like,
myself.
and I start to egg him on a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, why do you hate Viper Strike so much?"
And
He's
I'm
like,
doing my best to keep a straight face.
And fortunately, Tuna comes up with something relatively innocuous. He
He
says
saved everything in that one game or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, he single-handedly like took me out of the playoffs. He blocked all my shots, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's good because he's sitting right next to you. And the look on Tuna's face was just priceless.
He like looked like he had just killed a cat.
It was fantastic.
Like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that.
It was great.
Yeah,
It's
Tuna,
like, oh
I
no,
love
you
you.
get into the old no box later.
yeah. There's some stories related to Fiend that are absolutely hilarious from that restaurant trip. That we should save that for when Fiend's here.
Yeah. But anyways, we should probably get the sign-off thing rolling.
And Tuna, I love you. It's okay.
All right.
If you're
Anyways,
watching
so-
this, Tuna, we love it.
anyways, Viper, thanks for coming on with us.
Yep.
We appreciate the interview.
Yeah. Thanks for the
Hopefully,
invite.
hopefully somebody's still actually watching this at some point this deep into the.
Yeah. So we're not even gonna take Viper out. We'll just do the sign off with him here. So
But-
thank you everyone for watching the first episode of the RC podcast. Hope you
We're
enjoyed
hoping-
it.
Yeah, we hope to bring this to you on a relatively weekly basis. Keep you updated with everything in the league. I'm a Dead Moose.
I'm a BraveNewWrld.
And I'm Cobra Kai.
All right, and we will see you guys next time.
Adios.
Bye.